Let us continue with the next fig fruit. A pearly poem from Master Abu Sa'id Abul Khairah, one of the fabulous Manna masters and first class students of Christ class COP, whose GPA is basically A+. In this Genesis 2 couplet or quatrain in English from our master that we can read about it, hear a song about it here. خاک آدم گل شد از شبنم عشق، خاک آدم گل شد، صد فتنه و شور در جهان حاصل شد، صد فتنه و شور در جهان حاصل شد، از شبنم عشق خاک آدم گل شد، گل شد، گل شد. نشترش بر رگ روح زدن، روح الامین Christ the کریم سرنشترش. Command of Allah came and slashed at the blood vessel of Christ the Kareem, blood or روح spirit، یه قطره چکید و نامش دل شد. One duahi droplet of katiro qatrat katara dropped into this soil and it became the mud, and that it became a heart picture. With one Bismillahi droplet of blood of Christ, Ruh Amin in it. It says what? La ilaha illa Allah. Oh Allah. Oh Allah. Holy Allahi Allah. شبنم عشق خاک آدم گل شد، از شبنم عشق خاک آدم گل شد. And so we read in this Genesis 2 couplet from Master Abu Sa'id Abul Khairah, Manna Master. read about primordial origin of the logos languaging into the dead and dumb and deaf Adam, Hamon, Zamon, soil, time, space. And that's how the Logosi language and was started, that we read in Asura 2 verse 31, that from dropped dua, or the Shabnam of Love Lord, that is dropped, did Al-Arzul Maitato, and the earth was dead. And Al-Arzul Maitato, or the dead earth, in these verses that you can see here, Surah 50 verse 9, 36 verse 33, soil, dust, ifriti, afar, or the smoke, ash, ashen, or the khak, or the asen, smoke, or the neurological energy, fire, agni, base brain of Adama, or the ground garden, or the human Hamuna, or the Hamuna, which means desert, or the animal psychic platform, desert, or the mind mud, or the barren biqa, Bagua, or the garden, Jordan, or the Hadesi, Sheol, shadow palm pit of Ethnostian, a dark Khishek, dry, yabish, an arrogantly puffed paste of pitcher, Pechar, Fechar, Fachar, and Khamiri, Hama, Hamim, or acid bathed, or the washed, or the heated, Homd, Mane Padme, Homd, Hamad, Homd, Hamimd, amino acid, and Khabiri amino acid, or the Kali, Khalal, Khala, empty, vacuum, void, basically was under the cascade of the drop, the dua, or the Bismillahi blada, or the brisa of the Love Lord. And that's why we read in these verses about the dead earth. Dead earth became alive, and that is what has happened to the dead earth. And so from dropped dua of Love Lord, dead earth, or the soil of Adama, became dead soil of Adama, and it, I, Amir, Ash, Adam, dropped into soil of Adama, and it, I, empty eye, blind eye, deaf ear, Amir, Ash, Adam, hellhole, became a Muslim Mad, or Memed, or Mashiach, or Mashed, or Masach, or Mashed. In Asura 2 verse 1, this meme is one of the letters that is used in Asura 2 verse 1, Asura 3 verse 1, Asura 7 verse 1, 13 verse 1, 26 verse 1, 28 verse 1, 29 verse 1. Surah 30 verse 1, Surah 31 verse 1, Surah 32 verse 1, Surah 40 verse 1, Hamim, or Surah 42 verse 1, Surah 43 verse 1, Surah 44 verse 1, Surah 45 verse 1, Surah 46 verse 1. And what do I mean by these surahs and verse 1? We call them muqatta'a, or let's go to, for instance, Surah 7 verse 1, and then we see Alif Lam Mim Sad.
Alif
Lam Mim Sad. كتاب أنزل إليك فلا يكن في صدرك حرج منه لتنذر به وذكرى للمؤمنين. Allah, or Alif Mim Sad. Allah, balagat or lugat or lugat or logis. Allah, or Alif, thousands of times of love, infinite amount of love of Allah is logating. He was the logos, and then the logosi lamp or the Christ Karimi iris was with Allahi logat, and so this is the lam and alif of Allah, and lam and then logist or worded or balagated or balagated or blogged, or and then from there meme came upon the heart of Muhammadah Rumiyah or Master Abu Sa'id Abul Khairah, one dewdroplet memed or Mashiach. And then after that miming Mashiach, that we call it anointment of Christ the Karimi cup that drops. And where is it coming? From Sod. What is Sod? It is called what we call it as the Eskatani Saphiring Ein Sof Sephirat of Sod, or Safan Safa, or Ein Sofa, which is where the Sod is coming, or it is another name of the cup, or Mahisha Syriai Dam, that, or the Barzakh that separates the Anahitahi ocean of sweet thirst Christ from the salty sea of hatred and vanity and emptiness. We see this meme again and again in many places, like again the one that we have looked at before. Alif Lam Mim. This meme is where the honeybee drops and oozes out the honey, and then it falls into the dead earth, like Muhammad, like Moses, like Abraham, like you name it. And then after that they receive an from Allah, and that's how holy, or how Allah, or the godly glory comes into the gloomy, sad mud of emptiness, and then the mind starts to language.
ألف
Lam Mim. Then so Allah, or thousands times of the author and the infinite amount of love light of Allahi author is Lam, or the L is important, the first letter A-L-M, that is A-L-M, and then the L of this is not, forget about the pronunciation of the letter. It is in fact A, L, M, and the L is the muqatta'a, or the separated. These are the discrete letters that are mystically zipped and locked. And so what it is that Allah, oh Muhammad, take it, open up, because I'm gonna drop, and then the payload is coming, and then it is that Allah, logat, or logos, or Allah, words, through meme, or M of Mashiach, or mass, or anoints. And so Allah's logos, word, is miming the receiver, and that meme is coming in the form of what? Is coming in the form of bina, or bayana, or bayana, or discernment, or talk. And so that is how Aleph Lam Mim comes, and then Muhammad or Moses learn how to talk. And in the same way, like we have this meme here, for instance, it is Hamim, or Haqq, the Ha of the Haqq, Hagios Hukhta, Haqqaq Ta'ala, is doing what? Is miming, or Mashiaching, or masking, or anointing, and then you receive the anointment of truth, reason, word, hukhta in Avestan language, hagios in Greek, or chakak, or a statute, or the word, or the decree, or the ordinance, or the talk of God, or haqq, which means truth, like ishaq, and then that haqq comes, and what is the message? How is it coming? Through meme, or the chokma meme, or the wisdom of the meme Messiah, that is doing what? That is binahing and understanding, and is being understood at the same time by the receiver, who is receiving the revelation of the Mumbuk that is being received. And who is receiving the revelation? The Prophet that is hearing it, whether Yahshua, whether Master Abu Sayyid Abul Khair, Rumia, Muhammad, and so that is that. And so from dua of Allah, love Lord, soil and dead soil of I became a Muslim Mad, or a mim, Mashiach, the Mad of a Christian, or it, or the Amir Zamin, or the Hamin, or Haman, or Hamuna of Hebrew 1996, 567, Hamuna of the Hamongog, became what? Ra. And what is the Ra? And then the Ra is the Ruach, or Ruh. تنزل الملائكة والروح الأمين, and that is the Ruh, the Ruh, which means God looked, God faced at the dead earth, and that facing is where the glory of God pours into it. That's where the love comes, that's where the compassion, the justice, the honesty, all of these things come. That's where the lie and high IQ, smart assness of the sapiosexual psychopaths of the Soma Stone, the Spider Sapiens will wipe away, vanishes away. And so that is what we call it as Ra. In what? In Huruful Muqatta'e. If you come into Huruful Muqatta'e, if you put Muqatta'at, then you see these secret letters. And where are they coming from? These letters are what you read in Al-Jafr of Abiyaz, as we already talked about it. In the Al-Jafr, you can see how these words basically are coming, and how they are being used. These letters are coming from, or this beginner of the surahs are, we have looked at Nun, Nar, Qaf. These are coming from Al-Jafrul Abiyaz. And so what is the Al-Jafrul Abiyaz? It is the white Al-Jaf, or the white Snow White, or the precious white Al-Jafr, or the green, or sorry, the white tablet. And that white is the white solar tablet of love life. And so coming here, we have the Ra, and that is in Surah 10 verse 1, Surah 11 verse 1, Surah 12 verse 1, 13 verse 1, 14 verse 1, 15 verse 1, or the Genesis 2 verse 1. That's where the rise, or the resh, or the restan, or the reshit, or the roshd starts. And that's how basically we have the Ruh in Genesis 2:1, and that is, we can, if you put for instance Surah 10 verse 1, it says what? Alif Lam Ra, or or again Alif
Lam
Ra, and that Ra is the Ruach, or Ruh, and that is the spirit. That is not the basic spirit. This spirit is not something that you can find in the Taoist third. This is not something that you can find in anything in the Bagua or in the Hades Sheol. This Ra is not the spirit that Harry Helions in the Yabash or the Yobs or the dry land of the Hamuna or human Hamuna or the ground desert have. This is the heavenly spirit, and when this heavenly spirit comes, then the rise, the ras, the resh or the reshit or roshd or the growth, Genesis growth starts. That is when someone starts carrying his or her cross. That is basically the Genesis growth. And so as soon as that droplet came, or the Ra or Alif Lam Ruh comes, then that is how the Amir or Zamin or Zaman or Haman became a Rahd clay of a living Celestian or Christian. That is where the Christ or the Celest or the anointment comes. I'll explain in Duahi detail about this pen prescribed process in next chapter, in the final chapter. I'm just going to basically bring the muqatta'ah of the white al-Jafr, or the rider on the white horse, or the flying solar tablet, that is our Christ King, disc, carousel, countenance, or the salam screen of Allah. Let me add here that du'ahi shabnam or the nocturnal moist is a name for kerech or kerech in Hebrew or Persian, or in Ezekiel 1 verse 22, or the book of Job 38 verse 29, or Christ's crystal cry, or the white wool of Allah, or we call him what? Fatalla, Vabelen Fatalla, and this is the Abel, and so that we will look at it. And so the Tal is the Talla, or the basically it means the dew, or the tello, or the tolu, or taulo, and that is the coming into the tolu. That is where the krech or the krech comes, or the crystal, or the frost, or the dew, or the shabnam comes, and that is the talla. And we have this talla in Daniel 4:15, 23, 25, 33, 5:21, as well as Surah 2:65, and it is talking about fatalla. And this talla is basically coming from the same root word of the tello, of the tello or taulo, and that is the rising, twilighting, moon shining from Isahi. Eden is upon the Galilee garden, the dark human, the astray ashen of Adam, or the fartful, stinky, flatulent sack of scum or vanity, or the harmony dark night of Alpha to Omega. Milk meaningless letter land of goy glue. As soon as dead Hamun, human, Zamin, Zaman, Zamun, Zuman, Zamun, or Hamin, the Z and H are interchangeable, and then coming from the same root, or the Zam, which means time, desert, space, flatland. That's the meaning of the human. as soon as, and so we go to شوری برخاست فتنه ای حاصل شد. As soon as the dead Hamun human Zamun, or the form Ash Amir Adam Pod, or the dark room of bottomless ego pit, or the negative film was love lighted, or mimed Mashiach, or ruh, or God look at this sack of vanity, or as soon as dead time and space was love lighted, or the meaning milk, or the tear teached, or the Hashem باسم ربك الذي خلق, or باسم, which means Hashem, and read in the name of your love Lord that creates. That's Surah 96:1. That's just the very beginning of what God gets the Muhammad to logoses, or to wars, or to bayan, or to binas, right after receiving the Hashem, honey, or allama Adam al-asma'a kullaha, or God taught to Adam, the dead Adam, the ashma, or the of the shamaim, or the hearing of the capital tetragrammaton of Surah 1 verse 1, all of them, those asma. And then once Adam learned that the Hashem Hania, or the 99 name nectar, and that is the asma, or it is plural, it is not as ism, although we have the ism, and then the asma, or the single, and then the plural, which is basically these are the characteristics of the Hashem, or be'esm, or the capital Hashem, that is canopying around the Shamaim. And this Shem of the Shamaim is Be'ishmallah, or Bishmillah, or Behashem Allah, the Rahman and Rahim of Surah 1 verse 1. And so once that comes, or by logos lamp lens lily lip pen, and so again we have the author, we have the neck, the trunk, the finger, the erected rakia, or the holy hoop, or the salsabil spring, or the salsabil spine, or the yakin horn. And then we have the slate, and then the pen writes on the slate, the author writes with his pen on the slate, and then from the slate it holographically emanates, or sod, or sapphire, the ein sofs, or sufito sif and vasfs, or emanates into the emptiness. And that is precisely what we read where in Genesis 2:1, or Surah 10:1. This one should be Genesis 1 verse 2, not Genesis 2 verse 1, but Genesis 1 verse 2. And so as soon as the name of Allah came Then shur or shu'ur or the Christian consciousness or the serious and this part is serious. See superstar raised or an affection and consciousnness raised from the dead earth, or Shiriyah, or the God is the love, the consciousness, the understanding, the compassionate of. We have it in Ash'ara, that's the name of the Tishteria, or the Christ Karimi rain star cloud of Surah 53 verse 49, the superstar. We call it Shir, or the Sha'a'irullah came, or Mash'arul Haram came, and then began, and that is how Shu'ur, or the consciousness that is sticking to the beauty and hates the ugliness and loves the truth and honesty and abhors bunch of charlatan made rubbish deceptions started. That is the consciousness of a human, of a Christian or Celestian in Persian or in Greek, Old English, Krisht, Sresht, Tian started. Or in other words, sure, sure, and sure, and sure is the regarding. Sure in is what we have in here is used, and that is Hebrew strong 7789. That is the sure. Or hijayun, hayajan, and hajan, sarajan, vahajan, or the excitement started. And that excitement is the source of language, and that excitement is the mimicking of the excitement of God that the beloved is just showing in a coquetry fashion that, hey, what's up? And then you see, and then arises from you. You don't have any. First that comes must comes into you, and then Adamah said to Allah, and then Allah said, well, yeah, that's it. But Allah was more excited than Adamah to make Adamah crazy. And so again, this love relationship with God is a one directional one. That's why the fear of that love comes, because it is all one directional from Allah to us. We don't have any love. Who the hell are we to know what the hell is love? When we dig in our sick psychic sack of scum, then we end up with LGBT love. That's the best we can get into it. However, when the love, the straight love comes, let alone about our love to the creation, that is the secondary sound of the first lightning. But the hijayun comes, and our hijayun or hayajan is even a mirrored infinitesimal amount of the mirrored excitement that we receive from the rejoicement, or the excitement, or the sure, or regarding, or looking, or beholding, sure, in Persian or in Hebrew. This is not Arabic, this is a Hebrew Persian. Sure, regarding excitement, or hayajan, or harjan, or hijayun comes, and that is basically God is first becomes more excited first God becomes excited because of having a contact, like an kind of alien contact with a sad individual that is locked in its cage of sadness. And that's why the curing and that healing that wants to bring joy and happiness and thankfulness to that encapsulated and locked and dead Bakua. First, that is coming from God, and Allah is more excited from the Adamah. But once that excitement of Allah gets him to poke the Adamah with his messianic hand, and then Adamah look and say, wow, and then excitement in Adam starts after the excitement of Allah. That's why we said Adam was the chosen one of Allah. And that's why the fear of Allah comes, because it is all Allah that is choosing, and we are not in that choosing. We're not able to understand what is even choice. We are dead. That's it. And so that is the sure. And so as soon as that droplet of love fall into the mud of Adam, excitement or the sure or the consciousness or shu'ur is raised. Or and so let us continue with the sure. Although sure and shu'ur are coming from different roots, but I here massaging both roots of the PIA roots of these words. And so as for the sha'r, we say sha'r or shi'riya or serious or serious star, or shi'riyas or the shir'ya or Ashuria, about that. And so in the same way, even Asura starts from here, and that is the surah or the beginning and the blessing of the Asura. A blessing starts, or we call it Asura Mazda, or the Ahura Mazda, or H and S are interchangeable. It becomes Asura or assuring Mazda, which means Izdiyad, or the increaser of the assurance and the blessing and the happiness, or combing or sheer or shar, ring shur, which means poem, poetry, language. Hebrew is strong. 7794 talks about not the sur or the cow, but the shur, and that is where the mashur or masha'ir comes. And masha'ir means the poets, or the ones that have high levels of consciousness, like Master Abu Sa'id Abul Khairah, that has received the manna mani, a sperm of favor of Allah, or a spirit. And so again, we have the sha'r or the shur. Shur is where the poetry comes, or poem means mash'ar or mash'ur. From 12 her rayah gates of legacy, life and love and living and believing began. And so as soon as that love light falls into the dark Adam, then the consciousness and then the poetry and then the poem and the talking arise the or happened, and thus as soon as love Lord and love of leaping happily happened, and so now we have the excitement. And so now that we have the excitement, now we see the exit door from this sadness in which we are trapped. Then trial, hate, thoughtful Pharaoh, Buddha, Abudan, here you come, you don't want to go out, don't look at that. Here I give you a happiness. You want to bang your mind with marijuana, here I give you THC. You want sexual orgasm, here I get you to have a tantric orgasm on mushroom tea 90 times, 100 times more than the ordinary level that you get the neural burst and burn of your psychic, of your neurological system. 100 times higher than ordinary average state of the orgasm that you get. Just don't look at that, okay? Just because I'm making money and power and selling you dharma, law of this, just don't look at that part. And so as soon as that excitement and that consciousness and that talking and uplifting joy comes, that lifts you up, then the gravity or the drag force that is pulling you back, then the trial, hate, jealousy, insecurity, agony, hatred happened, or the doubt happened, or the fear happened, or the insecurity happened, or the jealousy happened, or the hate happened, or the trial happens, and these are all, or the coldness happens, and gravitational resistance or the drag force of ego and Galilee-Gardenic gravity against jumping or stepping on Yacobi ladder area of legacy love light and jumping like a butterfly into fire happened. وكذلك جعلنا لكل نبي عدوا أشمل الشياطين الإنسان والجن. And then that's how the enmity of the devils of emptiness, or the Brahmanic, what Brahman, or above the human, or under the earth, under the Hamun, under the Zamun grip of the Brahmanic forces that consider themselves as the gatekeepers, and then the pigs of the animal farm started to, because they don't want to lose their power, and so they started their enmity, their adversity, their maddat, or their zeroing zarar started of the devils of emptiness, because they don't want to lose their power, or that emptiness, the dark room, Genesis 1 happened, or the shooting is of the Ephesians 6:12. That's what they did. of Brahmastra that they attacked to my marriage, for instance, and targeted my Anahitahi marriage started. And they started shooting arrows of angry Angara archer ants of the Krishna scratch against the what? The Israeli astral traveling on that Jacobi ladder that is leaned on what? On the firewall of Genesis 2 verse 5, or on the breast, bosom, chest, Sinai, Susan, Sinai, moon shining, sun shining, Sinai, Sinai, breast, of mouth, eye, face, belly button, of entry, window of Christ's countenance that gets you to go to the other side, or to the toward the Edeni time. And so that is what started against the Israeli astral traveling. And again, as I said, I repeat it again so that it sticks in your mind. We have astral traveling comprises of two parts. One is Isra, or the soul in English, or Israel, or the Seir in Arabic and Persian, or the Asra, Surah 17, and that is crossing the Chinoot Peretomi bridge, or the emanation of the double-edged sword, or the double-edged emanation of the salam of God, that either gets you to go into ultimate love or into ultimate sorrow and fear. And so as soon as that, and so one part is reaching to the fire, and then after Isra, then the travel, or the astral travel, goes into its second phase, and then it becomes Mi'raj. And then the Mi'raj is that when you have reached to the foundation of the tree of life, you are washed, your talariai sandals of your fly, or your Isra, are broken, your wings are broken and are tossed out, and then, or your shins as Sita, Queen Sita, or Sheba, basically dropped her Ida Pingala. And so after that, Isra or Soar or Israel, then Mi'raj or ascension starts. Now you are washed in the molten sea, and then or by the lavers, and then you start ascending in the inside the tree of life, or the third temple, or Beitul Ma'mur, or the Amor, love, Emarat, building. And so that part of ascension, that you can go into different levels depending on how much is your capacity, or how much God is allowing you to get close to the source of love light. It starts by what that called that second part is called Mi'raj, or the ascension, or the traveling. And then again we have and so we have the Isra, and then we have the Mi'raj, and together they are called astral traveling. As soon as you start the astral traveling, then the jealous Buddhist baboons sit behind Brahmastra and shoot at you what? Arrows of hatred, or anger mainui, arrows that are archers are shouting. That's what they shout, as we read in Surah 2 verse 102, upon me, upon my marriage with my ex-wife. And so, but again, anytime I just double it and mirror it back, not by the hatred, but by giving them the truth, so that they can reject it again, or they can repent. And if they don't, then they will have the double portion of the sorrow and regret on that they do this. And so against Israeli started. And so again, as soon as you want to take off, then the drag force or the gravity is starts pulling you back, and that is the insecurity, jealousy, hate, trial, and or attack of Gog and Magog at me, Ayman, and my Aliyah Akhiyahi brother, with sodomy, with dissension, with schism, with separation, with misunderstanding, with something that atrophies compassion between two brothers, or basically all that is how this receives energy, by parasitically destroying the life. And so in other words, tal or tal, or wabelan fatalla, or tello, or taulo, or tulu, or tuwai light, tawil. That's where we have it as tulu in English, in Arabic or Persian, or taulo in Chinese, or tal in Greek, or tal, or also we have it in Hebrew. Is coming from comes to English language, becomes twilight, or talit, and or the golden dua, or the twilighted shining received, or the and so for the two horn ram, we can look at it as the tal received the yal two horn ram dam, who was and is also what? Water worded, or the nasqad, or the honeyed, or the Hashem honeyed, or yusqa bima'al wahid of Genesis 2:6, Surah 13 Surah 13 1 verse 4, that is talking about that all of the ground is being watered and rained with one water. Although we have 12 different qualities of the soul seed and then the plots, but the 12 tribes, but all of them are being rained or breezed or talled, or the dew or the frost that comes upon them from one single water of life, from a spring of life. And that is called Genesis 2:6, is mentioned in these sources. That is Nosqa of and so the two-horned ram that received the twilight dew and was watered camel by the Chrismahin Christ, that is basically where that is standing, or the by the as a camel, or ebel. That's the meaning of the ebel, by the Christ Canal Cascade River of Ebel. And then the Ebel or Abul means Wabal, or the Wabal means of Daniel 8:2-3-6, or Surah 6 verse 144, or what we also have it here in Surah 2 verse 265. This kind of Ebel is called basically the water eating animal. That's why the camel is called Ebel, because Ebel or bowl is coming from the root word of the water. And so the Ebel is what we call it as the Ebel of Olai, or Sohof al-Ola, or the Tarshishi tablet, or the pages of the Book of Life that are exalted, or the Olai, or the at the highest level of the lowest sky, that we will look at it. And so or attack of in at the water worded camel happened, like what the Samadhi psychopaths did to the camel of the prophets. Here you can in 91:13, for instance, you can read it, or the 26:79. You can read about the camel, that once the camel was watered, then the arrows and then the attacks started. Happened by tyrannically and ruthlessly damaging Sodom Samadically, or the Sadama damage. That's the meaning of the Sodom, Sodomically damaging, attacking, and seizing the sail trip boat of Aliyahi ship by one of Devi lions, like the ones of the Devi lions of the 1 Samuel 17:34, without touching the ground started. And that is basically how my brother was attacked by, because again we read here in Ya'khuz kull safinatan qasban, that the Surah 18 verse 79, that the ships are being seized and attacked and captured by the thoughtful Pharaoh of the Hari hatred, that steers or provokes to jealousy, and part of that jealousy is damaging the psyche, or sodomiting the psyche. And then once you are sunk in the swamp of sodomy, then you cannot see the difference between the sodomy, the LGBT love, and then the real love. And that is how you are seized, or you are captured by the Devi lion that has attacked to this camel, that is water worded by the Ulai, by the Ulai, or the exalted Tarshish, that webbles or ebels, or the waters, the camels, and that is has happened without touching the ground. And so again, and so once the dew droplet comes into the soil of Adam and it becomes mud, then excitement and then uplift happens, and after that fitne or python. Fatan is what we have it in Persian or in Arabic, which means trial or something dangerous, perilous or hazardous, or fitan comes to English becomes python, something serpentine happens. And so again the excitement comes with the hatred or with the coldness or with the indifference or with the drag force that is try to counterbalance the Islamo-Christian happiness and joy. And so we continue to read that 23 and 24 that سرنشتر عشق بر رگ روح زدند. And this ruh is the ruh of Surah 10, 1, 11, 1, 12, 1, 13, 1, 14, 1, 15, 1. یک قطره خون چکید و نامش دل شد. Or the basically the blade of love was hit, and blade of love means the command of Allah, He love Lord, was hit at the rag ruh or the blood vessel of ruh, or the spring of life, or the ruh or ruh of Genesis 1 verse 2. And then after that barrag ruh zadan, and so Allah ordered to Christ's cup to pour a dewdrop into the dead ground, and one katiroi drop of blood of lamb that washes this coldness of the earth fall into the ground, because all of the people of the heaven are purchased by the precious blood of Christ that is carrying the salam, shalom, showered excitement of Allah that gets it to become initiated. And so one katiro, or the purifying droplet of basically and so one droplet of Bismillah blood of lamb drops into the dead earth, and then that is how the dead earth becomes a hard pitcher, and that is fulfilled with love and joy, and at the same time sorrow of not being able to reach to the Ruh level, or going through the astral travel. And so in 23 and 24 we read that incising intention, or the order, or the amara of Allah, Genesis 1:3, or Surah 2 multiplied by 18, Surah 36 verse 82 says Allah's what? Allah's asha, or yasha in Arabic, or asha, or insha. Shah in Arabic is asha of Avesta, which means will of God, or the universal love that binds everything and gets it from falling into chaos. Or in other words, erotao. Erotao is what we have in Greek 2046, or eratao, or ertai, or the rata, or arada, are coming all from the same root. Genesis 2:20-46, for instance, talks about the same thing. Let's bring Greek 20:46. Greek 20:46. If we go to Greek, then you can see that it is called what? Arrow, or arrow, or we also have it as the erot, and that is called arrow, or erot, or erotosan, and that is basically coming from the root of word of what? Of, or here we have the reton, or eroton, and that is what we have it in Sanskrit as rata, or even in Avesta, or in this T becomes D in Arabic, it becomes arada, or erot becomes arat, or arad. And arat or arad is mentioned many times in Holy Quran, or arta, which means 1882, or 3682, or many other places that we will look at it later on. It is mentioned as arada, or rata, or arada, or erto, or asha, or yasha. So we read that as soon as incising intention, or the order, or the amara, or the command of Allah, or Allah's villa, or tell, or love and will of villa of Allah, or qadir, keter, qater, authors, qadushi, qaf, like comes, like what? Like blade. And again, this is where the poet is Master Abu Sayyid Abu Khair is basically translating that command as a blade, and that is the cause of an effect. As soon as blade of God, or blade of love, or tearing throne of Lord, slashed, or slit, or incised the Bismillahi blood vessel of Christ, or the Salsabilahi spring of life. As soon as God tells to the sweet ocean of sweet waters, to drop sweet water into the salty sea, it will do it. Christ will do it. Or in other words, as soon as the blade or the command of God is slashed or slit or incised the Bismillahi blood vessel of, that's what we have in the poem, blood vessel of Ruh, or the blood vessel of, who is the Ruh? This is the Ruh al-Amen, that is fulfilled with Ruh HaKodesh, or the Amen, Emmanuel, Immune, Amanat Ruh, which is not Jibrail but Christ. As soon as blade of God is slashed or incised the blood vessel of Christ, again, this is not Genesis 2:1, this is Genesis 1:2. Or Ru, or Ra, Aleph Lam Ra, Aleph Lam Ra, Aleph Lam Ra, Aleph Lam Ra, Ruh, Aleph Lam Ruh, Aleph Lam Ruh. These are the discrete letters. Came as soon as blade of God slashed the blood vessel of Ruh, or river of Rozahi Breshiti, or the Salsabil, Salam Sabil pathway, or the spine of Christ, or the Yakim, or the shaft or the trunk of the river of life that flows from highest part or the protos to the eschatos of of Christ, and then continues outside as the As-Sirat al-Mustaqim, or Chinut Pretom bridge, beacon. So Salsabili Chasm, or Chashmal, Chasm, Chashmali spring of La ilaha illallah, love light, or the Nar Ner Nuri Ney, finger, pen, Kelk, finger, trunk, or Galamos, or the great river, axis, axle, voice van, shaft, Raqiya of Allahu Akbar, the great river of the heaven, ring, love life. These are all the synonyms or the equivalents of the Ruh, or the blood vessel. And so as soon as God slashed and slit and incised the Bismillahi blood vessel of Ruh, then from Isa Messiah river, or the Sereshti current, conduit, canal, who pours to Eskatani Christ cup, or bow ark, then one blada, or one ha'umahi droplet of haima, or the blood of this blood vessel that buys and purchases the people from Gentile and Goy glue mud of nations in damnation for God. Then one blada, or one haumahi droplet of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim of 2730, that Solomon has sent to his love lady, as well as I'm doing it for my love lady. One blada, one Haumahi droplet, or one Basiji baptizing blaba of what? One blada or one Haumahi droplet of what? Katiro, qatre, or qatiro, or taqtir, or qutrat, or qitran, or qatara. This is the qatara or the qitran. One droplet of what? One droplet of the qatiro of Ezekiel 8 verse 11. It is equal to Surah 18 verse 96. It is the prayers of the people in Allah Akbar in liver, of the saints, of heavenly saints. One katiroi taqatiri qatrati, purifying, refining. That's the meaning of the taqatir, or purging, katiroing, or refining, or alchemizing, that either turns you to a diamond or turns you to a super compressed turd, a sack of curse, and so that is called the purification process. Where refinement comes with more and more and deeper levels of repentance. Fala, or cascada, or reina, or tabrizi breezy breezia, or called, or qalad, or road, or quranad upon the dead Amir Ali, and it again Amir and Ali with Emily and Anahita, Neil, Marina, or basically the dead parts, and it, or the Amir, Emilia, Ali, Marina, Neil, Anahita, the pairs that we have became, or bedelium, or what? Then this is the alchemized part of the bedelium, or converted, or exchanged, or alchemized, or substituted into living heart and loving heart. Or why not heart picture of Islamo-Christian sheep, or why not heart picture 6 previously stone hearts filled with vinegar that we have in John 2:6 of an Islamic Christian who is or are allowed to sing and write like alive Adamas on its or their tombstones the heavenly password of Inna Lillah wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un, and we are from the fire and we return back to fire. Amanah Ya Allah. This is how Ironahiyal, or the 2-horn ram dummy of the Zerubbabel, was fire wallah and restored hatta iza ja'alahu naran, that we have it as 1896, or matured, or yablaga ashuddahuma, or we reach to the Breshiti, or Reshti, or Roshti growth, or Genesis growth, and that's how Zerubbabel reaches to maturity, and then it starts balagating, or blogging, or logosing, or talking, in by the ritual Babel pit of Sodom and Egypt. And all of these Penerakia prescribed process river who was passed and whirlwind out mercifully through all of the sapphire, Safrai, Ein Sof, Sufi, Sod. That's the Sod of the Ein Sof, Sufi, Safan, Safaing, Suvips, which means page or page. The word of the Suvip is coming from the Safat or the Sof or Suf. Sof means flattening, and or Suvipping in Arabic, in Hebrew, in English. And that's the meaning of the it comes into Ein Sof, or something that is flattened and then has made obvious and has come from a state of contraction and congestion or shrinkage, and then it becomes a suvipit or soft pages of the book of life that are saphiring. And then at the end of all of them is the hardcover of the Mother Moon Book, or the seven firmamental heavens, was, is, and will be initiated and began by what? By the what we had here, by the blade of love, and that is the command or the intention or asha or erato or rata or arato or arada of Allah, or the villa of love Lord, or the truth, or the reality. And that's so in other words, on all of these Ragiya process was, is, and will be always initiated, began. Not excitement doesn't came from Adam, excitement came from Allah. That, all right, let me just get this sad dude that is killing himself or herself to make him happy. And so then God pokes and then says, what's up? How about falling into Islamic ecstasy or Christian rejoicement in the Ruhi rejoicement, or the spiritual rejoicement of having the glory of the only one God in your heart. And that is called and so all of this process was, is, and will be initiated and began. Then after the excitement of God, the excitement of the Adam comes, and so all of this process is started and will be started by kun or kun, be, and then it becomes or we call it kun fayakun. That is precisely mentioned in Surah 36 verse 82. And then qiyam, but basically God is telling to the kun ground to become, or to qiyam into, or becomes, or turns into Muslim, Christian, whatever God wants, Gentile, fruitful, fruitless, cursed, healing, whatever. And so again, but in this case, all of this love, mercy process comes from Allah, and then initiates from Allah, or begins from Allah, He loved Lord, and then it gets and then it comes in a form of this kun fayakun. And so God is telling to the cone or the lower cone or the hellhole or the ground to read what is written and to become what God has kianed. And that is how the kian comes and writes on the reading ground. And that's how the command of God is read and performed. And that is called kun fayakunin, command of Creator, who wants and wanted, or ashad, or ratad, or artad in Avestan, or rata in Sanskrit, or arada in Arabic, or retan or aratan in Greek 2046 that we read eroto or erotao. And so the erotao who erotaud or erotoaz or villas or intends or trucifies or kians and tells to become to generously hila or the rafa or the karim chromically clean color charisma and vaina the wedding guests or the anti-Israeli drunk droplets of the Euphrates or jihadi jumpers of Israeli juggernauts of IRGC, all hymn to Allah. That's how basically God always gets even this river, this Euphrates river that is exiled and is trapped, this river of sweet water can be dispatched or initiated, initiate its astral travel of martyrdom by the villa of God, or by rata, arada, or arta of God. And that's how they will jump and detach these jihadi jumpers or IRGC juggernauts by attacking to the end time Israel of funky Antichrist. All hymn to Allah, because all of the love must always initiate and begin from God. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We are from the fire and we return back into Allahi fire. That's the source of the love light. In the next poem, we read عاشقی پیداست از زاری دل نیست بیماری چون بیماری دل علت عشق از همه علتها جداست عشق استارلاب اسرار خداست هرچه گویم عشق را شرح و بیان چون به عشق آیم خجل باشم از آن گرچه تفسیر زبان روشنگر است لیک عشق بی زبان روشنتر است چون قلم اندر نوشتن می شتافت چون به عشق آمد قلم در خود شکافت عشق در شرحش چو خر در گل بخفت شرح عشق و عاشقی هم عشق گفت آفتاب آمد دلیل آفتاب گر دلیلت باید از وی روی متاب سایه خواب آرد تو را همچو ثمر چون برآید شمس انشق القمر شمس جان کو خارج آمد از اسیر نبودش در ذهن و در خارج نظیر. چون حدیث روی شمس الدین رسید، شمس چهارم آسمان سر در کشید. And so this is a selection that I have made from a very long poem. We drink in this رومیاهی واین وردا.
عاشقی پیداست از زاری دل، عاشقی پیداست از زاری دل، نیست بیماری چون بیماری دل.
There is no sickness like the sickness of love.
عاشقی
When you fall in love,
گرزان سرم، عاقبت ما را بدان
شهر رهبر است inshallah. Although love might go sometimes this way or that way, but inshallah, God's willing, eventually it will get me to get to the beloved. No matter how much I tell about the Allah love Lord and the love of to Allah, but when I reach to the Shekinah presence of Allah, when I reach to love, then I will be ashamed of my wordings about love and love Lord. When Qalamus or Galamus or the pen was speeding up in the writing about love and writing about itself, چون به عشق آمد قلم در خود شکافت. But when pen reached to the word of ishq or love or asha yashai yasin yasna ishq, when pen reached to love, pen broke and couldn't write about it. When it reached to the love, both pen and the paper broke up. They couldn't handle the Allahi love Lord. We drink in this Rumiyahi wine wort that is healthy to double its meaning milk medium in this lingual form.
در دفتر اول مثنوی وقتی شرح قصه پادشاه کنیزک رو مولانا میگه، یه جایش هست که طبیب رو بر سر کنیزک میاره تا علت بیماری.
And here we read about the sickness of a homesick heart that has found its love and is trying to go back and heal its seeking, or its sadness, or its pain of long distance relationship, or top triple top. Love is the one that puts you in awe, in wonder. The love is the one that makes you unneedy, that you don't need faith or disbelief. You're in love. You're above faith. You're above disbelief. You're in love. In La ilaha illallah, He lowest love light. And you are in that fire of inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. And so we read in this song that being in La ilaha illallah, love life light, is conspicuous from awfulness and the heartsick of katiroi or taqtiri or qatrati or qitran, the heart that is ahing from long distance relationship and from the escapings in the sajjada and in sujud and in prostration and in salah saylas that the art is doing to his Allah. Haliha Allahi Allah. Oh God, there is no sickness like heart sickness or homesickness of a fallen heart balloon from Rakiyai Hollyhoop of Haliha Allah. Ha al Allahi Allah, which means God. '27 and 28. عشق علت عاشق ذلت ها جداست. The Isa Messiahi allat allal allesia, coming from precisely the same thing. Motive, the motive, the messianic motive, the messianic truth, reason, a straightforwardness, true light, of John chapter 14 verse 6, 1:9, 1:14 of lover, the truth of a lover, the fire at the heart of a lover, that Master Rumia calls him solar self, as that Master Rumia calls that Allat or Alatia or truth at his heart, or a spirit at his heart, as Shamsul Haq, Hakak, Hakak, Hagios, Hagion, Tabrizi, Brizi, Briziyah, and Allah calls him solar self, that Master Rumia calls Christ as this, and Allah calls Christ in him solar self as the Christ cause, or as Al-Burhan or Barahnat or the Beir Al-Burhan. It's another name of Christ. Surah 4 verse 174, Surah 12 verse 24. Burhan Rabbihi, the reason that has come from God, or the Logesi Hujjat Hagag Hukhta, or the speak proof allegation, obvious blogus, or a spoken allegation of God, or the Christ guys. And so the Allat, or the cause, or the truth, or the reason of love is separate, distinct from all of the clayful causes, or egotistical and ideal and ill and alil alicias, or the basically Allats, or the retard reasons, or ill ailments, because Allat, or the Alicia Christ cause, is yes the cure, the Shafa Sophia for the labbaking lover of a Hajj, or Hajjing into Logesi Hujjat, feast of God, or the need for the feast and food of God, or Hagag Loges lamp. And so the cause of the love is different from other egotistical and clayful causes, or alicias, or allats, or the reasons. The reason of love is not linear. The reason of love is non-linear. Logos lamp, or the moon, transparent glass surface arc bow plus Zohari Venus plus God, that all three of them together, we call them as serious Shi'ra, or Shahr, or Shur, or Sha'r, or Shirah, or Shur, which means Sha'r, or poem, or Mashira, or Masha'ir, poem, Tarus, Shur, passionately regard, love, look, beholding, Ashurahi Sha'a'irullah, plus Proinos, or Parveen, or Paran, or Paranashi backpack, is there. And so this moonshining window of consciousness, that inside him, the seven stars, or the El Paran, or the Proinos, Prana, Parveen, are shining at its inside or its backpack is the astral astrolabe or astrolabe or the qibla or the qabla or the qutb or the pole of reaching is the qitb or the qutb of astral Sufi sailings or astral Isra Sorahin. Again, as I said, the astral travel, it has two phases. One is the Isra Sor to the moon, and then the next part is the Mi'raj after in this astral travel. After the Isra, it is called Mi'raj or the Uruj, or gaining elevation or ascension into vertically into the Venus band or the woman or the tree of life, gaining elevation in the tree of life. That its crown is Allah, Holy Allahi, Allah, God. And so that is what we call it astrolabe. And so we say that the astrolabe of astral Isra Soras, or the reaching into Shamaimi, safe of secrets of God. In other words, one word, astral travel trip has two parts. First part is called Isra or Yisra or Yisrael, or the soaring to El's rock, or reaching or aviating, or Avayna of 1863 to Isahi Mumbuk rock, or putting the head or reaching to the bosom of Christ, like that beauty faithful apostle, or the lower Eskatani foundation, burning bush partition, hijab, isthmus of heavenly holy hoopin. And after this first phase, the second phase, and after the taking off of the ego sandal wing, or Oref neck breaking, or denuclearization, and cleaning and crossing Javaza of 1862, through cow Christ, the colon cloud of Yasmina, or the Jasper partition or firewall, who is Bainahoma or Binad, or in between, or discerning between salt waters of the lower hellhole and the sweet waters, or we call him as the Bina or Baina or between the heavenly colon and the earthly sea, Surah Samadhi Sulaj. Then after that we reach to the second paradisiac part of the astral travel. And the second paradisiac part of the astral travel of an Islamo-Christian bird balloon is called Miraj, or ascension or elevation into the different levels of erected rakia or raqqe manshur, or qala in English, or qala in Arabic, or in Hebrew, or calling Galamos, that calls Allah with His names. That's how the Sufi Tawsif and Wasf of Safayra comes, or the characterization of Allah with calling and exalting Galamos, or the pen. or the Melchizedeki Mulka, or command center, or the Mamlekat. Surah 67 is mentioned, is named after that command center. And so this is the is called Miraj, or we also call it or a Miraj, or another name of the Miraj is what? Another name of Miraj is paradisiacally pilgriming, or hagag, or hajjing into Logos Hujjat, or the reason, or another name of this ascension, this astral traveling, elevation and ascension, in addition to Miraj or into Hajj, is elevating, ascending into Araf as this third name. Are all the same, have the same, are talking about the same, or the trip, and this is the second trip. The first is to reach to the burning bush, and then the second part is to basically infuse in the fire of the burning bush bosom breast, and infusing with that is called Miraj, or ascension in, or deepening into the fire and burning, and or elevating or ascending into Araf, or Al-Arafal. Arafal. Irfan is another name of it in Islamic term. We call it Irfan, or Araf, or which means knowledge, or the awareness, or the wisdom, or the consciousness, or that it is inside, and now you are inside the Shamaim. First you have to reach to Shamaim, and then you enter into Shamaim, and in those heavenly skies you can gain altitude, and this is called Arafal, or Irfan, or getting closer and closer to Allah, and having a better knowledge and awareness and wisdom of the singularity source of love life. And that also is called as Araf El, which is again we have it in Exodus 2:21, Deuteronomy 5:22, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel 22:10, 1 Kings 8:12. This is the smoke, or the thick cloud of God, that is thick 12 tonahi ud kolon, cloud of the 7 smoke spirits, who are not dark garbage translation. We also call it as Araf El, or Urfullah. That again we have it here in Surah 7 verse 46 and 48. The 7th chapter of Holy Quran is named after this ascension, or the second phase of gaining altitude in the trunk of tree of life, as Araf, or Arafel, or Araf, which means heavenly heights. Now you are gaining height after reaching to the foundation. Now basically you are going up and climbing the trunk to whatever level that you can handle the heat of Allahi fire, or at the crown, or the crown of the tree, or the sun that is getting the tree to remain alive. You are gaining elevation in that. That is called, or the heavenly heights, or the loftily elevated colon clouds. The more you go up, the higher, the thicker the clouds and the cologne smell gets. And also we call it Arifa, of the 7 spirit smokes. Yellow du'ahi dukhan. This is the du'ahi dukhan, not the killer dukhan, who are allowed to go front yard, or the rear. It's the meaning of also as the Araf or oref, above, back, behind, the rear or the back is called as oref Hebrews 62:03. It is the same as this that we have here, although with different kind of here we have the arafel or the arafel of 62:05 or 62:03, and that is araf, and then here we have the arafel, that means the thick cloud or the back, because now you have finished the Israel and now you are in the Shamaim, and now with 12 ternahing in the Kala, Galamus, Gilgal, you are going up. No one goes straight in that thing. The only one that goes up and down straight is Christ, or the Ha'omahi bird, and because the boulevard is made for Christ, the rest are all turning around. That's how they go. And so that is called front yard, or the rear rooftop, or the beyond, that is called oref. And that again, that is means the heights, or the Isra oref, or the back, or the beyond the Isahi Isthmus, in order to ta'araf. That's another coming from the same root, ta'araf or ta'arif or araf, or irfan, or ta'arif, or know, or knowledge, gain knowledge, define, acquaint, accustom, explain, cognize, acclaim, worship Allah. These are all this is another name of the logos, or the logat is arafa or ta'arif, which means definition. You define the Allah, a love Lord, and that's the basically you are exalting, you are acquainting and cognizing God. And the higher you go, the higher your level of your knowledge or your irfan of araf gets, or your cognition or your consciousness basically is upgraded to a higher and higher levels of vicinity and acquaintance to the Allah. That is also known as Sufi sailing, or Tawsif. That's where the Suf or the Saf or the sweeping or the Ein Sofing comes around Allah as a fanon, feng, phenom, fan, ofaning, naftali, nif, around him holy self. And so there are three names after the Isra, or reaching to the bedrock. We reach to the ascension, that is called either Mi'raj, or we call it Hajj, or Ihtiyaj, or the need for receiving food, or the feast of fire from God, because inside the fire, the more once you reach to the fire, then you want more and more fire. And then the third name, and so one is called Mi'raj, one is called Hajj, one is called Arafel, or Araf, or Irfan. And so you Irfan, Hajj, and Mi'raj are the three names of the second phase of the astral traveling. And so if we go to the 27, 28 in a fast version, then we said that the cause of love is different and separate from other causes. The cause of love is to fall or into more fire, or into more love. And so the love to Allah is the astrolabe for astral traveling, because the Hindu orangutans or the chimpanzees of the Satan or Shiva, Shova, Su, Sayyat are basically doing what? Using yantras, different yantra machines, in order to be navigate in the dark waters of the hellhole, in Trishula Sheol of the Pharaoh, pharaonic fart. And so that's why in that realm Harut and Marut are selling them different astrolabes in order to be able to navigate in nothing, or in Kali Khali vanity, or the and so the astrolabe is another name of the yantra routes that the people of hell are using in order to be able to maintain, like a Taoist monster, in order to be able to maintain their elevation or do whatever they want to do, to go to deepen or to in the dark waters, or to come up between, to traverse between different Satya lokas, as Hermes does, or Varun Baruna. And so that is called astrolabing. And we're not talking about the astrolabe of looking at the stars in the obvious world. We are talking about the unseen world. And so the astrolabe is another name of yantras. The most famous of them is the Siri yantra of the Satan. And so but here we say that a Muslim or a Christian, Sufi or apostle or diving dervish does not need any yantra or anything, because you are not sinking or diving or scuba diving like Talmudic orangutans and Taoists into the garbage filth hole that Taoist monsters call it Tian heaven. Okay, you're not going there. Let the Alice's in Wonderland fall with LSD into the acid hole of the LSD. As for the Muslim and Christian Sufis, they dive into the dark waters, and then they don't need any any astrolabe or a system of navigation or a machine or a yantra or an engine. Why? Because once you go into the dark room, and if you are Muslim or Christian or Zoroastrian or Sabaean, Sabaean spirit of the Sabah soap, then you see the misbah. Then you see the lamp. Then the dark room is not dark for you. Then what the hell is the astrolabe good for? You don't need that. The entire dark room, it is as obvious as the palm of your hand. You just the moon shining, the full moon shining in the middle of night is just right there for you. You don't need anything, because you're not turning away from that love light. And so that's why Master Rumia says that the cause or the alesia or the truth of the love to Allah is different from other causes. And so the love is the astrolabe or the navigation system. The love to Allah and love to his lamp is the astrolabe or the navigation system of a Sufi sailor that dives deep into the dark waters and then finds the sweet waters. And again, عشق astrolabe asrar khodast. And so once love is the astrolabe of the safe of secrets of God. Because where are the secrets of God? We call the secrets of God as irfan, or knowledge or Shamaim or the hearing of the Hashem name. And so for that, all that you need is one thing, is love. That's it. You are worshiping a living God. You are not worshiping a dead monster or a ghost like Gentile junks of the pagan pit. You are worshiping a living God with a moon-shining lamp, with a 7 pronosi parvini el paranpranai flying stars. And they are, as we read in Genesis 1:16 or Asura 16 verse 16, they are the guides for the travelers. That's what we read in the Asura. If I bring Asura 16 verse 16, then you see that it says that these stars and the love and the landmarks by the stars, they guide themselves, and the landmarks and by the stars they guide themselves.
وعلامات
بالنجم هم يهتدون. And these alamat, or the landmarks or the signs, what are these signs? Again, you don't need any astronaut or anything. It is obvious. You see the lamp, you see there is only one lamp in that dark room, and that is Christ. And inside that lamp there are 7 stars, and these are the signs. Here it says alamat, the landmarks that we have. If I add maybe different translations, here you see the land, they are all unfortunately translating it as alamat. Let's see if I can add more. The marks, the landmarks, landmark. They're all talking about, these are the signs or the landmarks. Here you can see, and he made the 2 great lights. Here God said, let there be lights in the firmament to divide the day and the night, and let them be what? Signs or alamat. These are the signs. And so with these signs, if you are a sailor in the dark, turbulent night of ocean of darkness or ocean of hell, or the lake of burning fire, that at the moment is a lake of burning smoke, acid washed bathroom, moist, then you don't need any navigation system. You don't need any map, because your map is the love to God, and that love gets you to, again, that love is the astrolabe of again, your love is the astrolabe. Your astrolabe is the love that you have in your heart, and with that you have the qibla or the qutb or the pole that you need, and it will help you as the signs. And so as we can see, contrary to forgetful forms and amnesiac ashes, or the going glue of Hindu hell, or Gentile junk of backyard, or Taoist tears of ethnostiantin thanatos, or dirt dharmaing dark forces of universal this, whose ultimate aspiration is this, or egotistical masturbation and nirvanic no-run or silence refrainment from running and loving and tawafing around God love word, and their baboonish belief is moksha suction into Buddhic black hole of satanic sound, Under bathful navigation on Soma North Pole is what? Is blindly groping. Yamsha Mokeban ala Vacha, that is called groping, like blindly groping, because you don't see. Even if you open your eye in the absolute darkness, you don't see anything, because you cannot see the lamp and the 7 stars and the sun that is turning them on. You cannot see anything, and so whether your eyes are closed or your eyes are on, you cannot see in that dark room anything. And so that's why God says in Surah 67 verse 22 that these orangutans are blindly groping once they dive into the hellhole. And that's why they need what? They need to close their eyes, and on meditation they need to use yantras, different yantras. We have 1,000 different forms of yantra routes and yantra machines that are using in that gentle junkyard of the overheated engines. And so that's Yamshi Mokeban Alavache, or the blindly. And the bathful navigation on Soma North Pole, are in the pool of Soma poison, in the pool of heated acid bath. What you do is blind groping in triple darknesses of Maya, mirage, empty ego, or the black smoke spiriti, local lake, salt lodge of Trishula Sheol. And so what they do is to use Seriantra astrolabs, like Seriantra, but we have very different yantras. And navigation mandala maps of the dead realm of ghosts, and again the dark matter, or the maddat, and ajaj, or the sand crystalline, like a crystallography scans, crystallographical scans of the sands, or of the Hamuna, human, Adama, ground, Zamuna, Zamin, time, space. And that's why they have nothing but these Sriyantra astrolabs. But you don't, but again, if you are a Zoroastrian, you don't need anything, you don't need these, because the Lambda. And so sacred, or sacred dead sounds, or the sacred dead geometries. That's why they are into geometries and the sacred sounds and these kind of things. Because for you, whether your eyes are open or closed, all that you can see is either sound or geometry. There are two types of the same nothing, or we call it sacred dead spider webs. However, contrary to all of those blind gropings on Hari hatred and empty ego and grudging, grudging against God, the Sufi sailing lovers of Mumbuk Mount of Life, love and Allah, without any Sriyantra astrolab, hit the dark waters by what? By hope, and only hope, and that they're straightened, yamshi sawaina ala sirat al-mustaqim, that their awesome astrolab, and only hope that their straightened heart masts of 6722, who are looking forward and up to see the beloved Isahi moon book or the Jasper book of is Yesi or Yasin Yasna Izad Yazdan Rahman. Because he is yes, the Messiah. There are some astrolog, because Christ or the moon book is their awesome astrolog, or qibla, qabla, qutb, qibla, qabula, or accepted pole of their heart, or the Parvini North Pole, or the Shiriyahi Sirius or Sirius superstar, or consciousness Christ cause, or the Messianic Misbah is another name of Christ, or Messiah is in Holy Quran is Misbah, or the morning lamp, who shines shalom straightly upon entire, all, whole, entire, all of 3967, entire dark room or the hellhole. That's why they don't need any astrolab. That's why they just all that they need is the hope and the love that they carry at their heart. That's why when they are dropping and casting their nets to the left of the boat, then the Christ comes and says that way, you that are blindly groping, don't do that side, drop it this side. And then as soon as they do it, then see, wow, look at that sweet ocean with 300 something fishes in it. And then they cast fishes, and then they see they have the guidance from the command center. And again, this is one directional contact. And if the command center wants that it becomes visible in your radar, then it will guide you where to look, how to navigate, and then you see. And that's why you are basically in a real time correction of your navigation. You don't need any mandala, you don't need any yantra. Let the mandalas and the yantras of these orangutans be for them. What you need is all love to Allah and to His Christ covenant. And so who shine shaloms straightly upon entire, all, whole of the dark room or the hellhole. Allahi aspiration and illat and the alatia or the cause or the truth of a loving, living, make-loving Muslim is not dying in oblivion and but reaching to the living meaning or the loving word of Allah. Behind and beyond Isahi word safe of the meaning or the Makhsan al-Asrar, or we call it this safe, we call it chamber or sambara, or the safe of the sweet water words and the secrets of God. Whatsoever I saw in exposition and explanation of love, or the lower love, or the logos lamp lens of love, capital love, when I come to love, or misbah, and you see the Messiah, Him, solar self, I am ashamed of that explanation. The words just doesn't do it. And then once, and that is just a messianic misbah, moon. But once you go inside the moon, and then you see where the moon is getting the sun, his light from the sun, and then you reach to the infinity of Allah, and then you saw the salam sun source, or the singularity, the Allah Samad singularity of love. then your jaw drops, your eyes pops out, and then then you see that words cannot do just way of explaining it. Although the expressions of the tongue language word make clear what kind of meaning milk or the charming chrome, cologne, color, charisma the cow Christ cup has poured, or Tabrizi Brizi Brizat, or the Hashem Haniyat into me, or that tongue, yet tongueless love is clearer. And so sometimes it's better to just shut the mouth and just be in that awe. Action is louder, or the walking the talk is more Christian than poetic babbling. 33-34. Whilst the pen-reed was making haste in writing, it is split in awe upon itself as soon as it came to write about love, or the lower love, or the logisi lamp of love, or the Qur'anahi qibla, qutb, qabala, qabula, accepted pole of love. It's another meaning of the superstar of the night. And once you make that serious, or She'era of the Surah 53-49, or the Christ, your pole, then whether you are at the furthermost borders of the dark room, you can navigate, because he's at the center of the dark room, not at the east nor at the west, at the center. East, we call it Qidma or Qadama, which means at the Qadim, at the oldest, at the ancient center. From there, once we fall, then we disperse in the Shinari sand dunes of the Galilee garden. That's or whether or you're in the at the eastern side of the dark room, once you see the central watchtower of Matthew 21:33, or the lighthouse, then no matter how turbulent is the dark sea, or how much waves are there, or if you are engulfed in a whirlpool or anything, you can easily see. And as soon as you see, then all of that will subside, and then you are not lost. You can easily walk toward it. Sometimes, like Peter, you just jump into the water out of the excitement of seeing, and then if the waters are getting you, or or the waters distract you from seeing, because if you lock on the lamp, then you are golden, thumbs up. But if you get distraction and then you start drowning, then the lamp will come and grab your hand. And that's precisely what has happened in the case of the Peter, as we know. And so again, the Qibla, Qabuli, Qabala, or the Qutb, or the pole, or the serious superstar. And so as soon as my pen was writing, my pen was fast in writing, but once it reached to the love, or the eclipsed overarched Katuzi Katizod Mumbuk, then it split. It couldn't. It just. It is hard to. Again, all of these Gospels, all of the Holy Quran is being used to talk about the Holy Quran, or the book of life, And the only thing that can explain the book of life better than any human is the book of life. And that's why the book of life is self-terrorizing itself, or it's independently describing itself for the rest of the students of the class, and then they know what it is. And then they go write Rumi poetry or different things. And again, we have different types of gardens, as we looked before. Some of them are unterrorized, like mine, that I haven't seen I haven't been in that space for 5 years, 4 years, unfortunately. I'm almost super thirsty, dead, full of darkness. But some of them, the writer, when Muhammad or Moses or Yeshua are writing, or David is writing the Psalms, then every week they go for the corrections, and like back and forth corrections with the command center. You correct, and then you make sure that everything is that you are saying is exactly according as to what the Misbah, mouse face of God, or the rock radio of God, or the book of God wanted it to be. 33, 35, 36. In expounding it, or Isa, love, logos, or the Bina, Imam Mubina, or the distinguishing Bina, or the conspicuous Imam, or the ocean, or the day, or the Sultan, Susan Sultan. The intellect, or the mini pen, or the Muslim mind, lay down helplessly like an ass or donkey in the mire. Who can explain who is my Isahi father, or my Abbas Saleh, or the Jasper Logos is perfect by him solar self. The best that we can do is to let lamp love light explain him solar self to us. Again, we cannot do anything
عاشقی پیداست
as Banu Parisa, or the Lady Parisa, the princess of Persian classical music, is singing about Ashaqi, or Yashiq, or Yashi, or root of Yessi, or Ashi, or Ishqi, or Yassi, or Yassi, or Izzadi, Yes, Yesh, Az, Iz. These are all coming from the same root of life, or yes. And so yes, the best that we can do is to let the independent logos to independently explain him solar self to us. That is about what? About the Allahi holy moment of now of Allah, that is Shekinah dwelling in the lowercase logos. That is the capital logos, or logat, or balagat, and then we have the lowercase logat. It was love, or the Quran, or the logos alone that uttered the explanation of the capital love Lord logos, or the Allah, and loverhood of him solar self. Lampi love logos, or the straight Sirat al-Mustaqim, love straightly to love Lord Logos Allah. 37, 38. Isa Messiahi solar disk face or the moon shining shemesh shams al haq hagios khakak hukhta ja al haq wa zahaq al batil of 7081. That is Tabrizi breathing truth into our hearts or the lungs, who shine shaloms like or moonshines like Allah's salam sun source came to nose nostril of earth or night ground or Amir Adam to give and proof, to give breath to or proof, wine, reason, awareness, knowledge, gnosis. These are all the names of or irfan or ta'araf or araf or ta'arif of Asura 7. Again, Asura 7 is another name of heights. The second part of the Isra, once you reach to the fire and then you jump into the fire and then you become part of the fire, then it is ascension or deepening in the fire. And then warming up in the more you get closer to the central part of the fire, the heat hotter it is. And so the more gnosis or shenas in Greek or in Persian you have, that we call it ta'arif or the arfel. You are in the thick cloud, and the more you go into the center, the thicker and thicker the colon it gets. At the distance that colon is, the intensity of the colon is lower. But the more you get close or you close your nose, then the araf or the reasoning or the knowledge gets higher, and then you become more drunk, or you go into bacchanalian and drunk state, and then you become a dreamer baby, like the ones that are rising to Allah and sending kisses in their prayers on Sundays in churches as well as the mosques. So Isahi solar disk that shines like Allah's sun source. It is not the salam sun source. It is like moonshine, like Allah's sun source. Once that moonshine came into this dark nose, nostril, nose, mind, to give proof, reason about Allah's salam sun source or sunshine or the shemesh or lahaq 2730. That's basically what he does. That's again we call it araf or ta'rif. That's why Christ says, I am the only way, or in other words, I am the only way of not only Isra'ing to see the Allah in the horizon of you once you reach to Barzakh Isthmus, but also the way that you can ascend, or now from that harbor or marinal harbor you can start ascending or deepening or elevating or gaining altitude into the sweet ocean, into the day, into the year of God, or the sunnat, tasneem of God, or sunnatullah, or sinnullah, or the eternal year of God. And that is called arafal, or the araf, or the tarif, or the irfan. So if you want word, reason, logic, love, life, light, era, wine, then don't turn away. Don't turn away your face from Mahishasurahi Mumbuk. Because if you do, that turning away, like Hindu excrements, Talmudic thirsts, Buddhic plants, and the zero czar, the wasted and losers, then you will rot, sadly, and you will be raped, sadly, in LGBT love and hairy turmoil of har, and empty ego and hairy hatred, and Magog decay, mufsiduna fil arz. You deteriorate, you start doing genetically modification, you smash the electrons, you come up with the ideas of God particles, you think about all of those anomalies and malicious malfunctions of sick mentality of the end time baboon. Bunch of sacred sounds, then you a bunch of sacred sounds and visited flatulence gases and geometrical maps of Maya mirage, which are produced through geophagical eating of soma poison soil of void garden Adam Amir ground. And that's where you will be raped in it. If you turn away from truth, tear, Ravanahi Reina of remembrance, then you will eat ash, cold paste, afar, of Shadow Valley of Asfat or the Sidim Valley, and then you will geophagically give to your soiled self previous reincarnations and empty identities, or we call it shenase, or what we call it as shenas, or gnos in Greek or Persian, same thing. And then because the matter or the dark matter that you are eating, it's been used, or the emptiness is being used to have a dinosaur, to have a giraffe, to have a jackal, to have a hippo, to have a fox and cockroach. And then you become a Hindu that says, all right, I was a cockroach in my past life. If I sweat enough in this life, maybe I can get the upgrade and I don't know, become a skunk in the next life or something like that. Or eventually I might reach to nirvana and just don't become anything, I become Om. That's the level of retardation of the consciousness that is we are dealing with. Although they were previously broken parts of the Hadesi pottery, you forgot that it is yes, yasna, isahi essence. Why now? Who makes you Adama? You lose your ah. If you turn away, you lose your ah. And that's why God says, oh, why are you turning away? Don't turn away. That's why God says that, no, don't do it. I am excited for you. I am more excited for you than my let's see if we can start from, maybe I don't forgot the let's bring a surah, I think 81. Here it says that, so where are you going? فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ
فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ.
So where are you going? No, don't go away. Don't turn away. Don't turn your back away. I'm loving you. You're gonna get yourself ruined. That's why it says that because you are under the umbrella of my love, whether you are a Gentile or you are a Muslim. Because here it says that You have compassed all things in mercy. And so once the mercy that is excited for having you in his mercy sees that you are going and turning away, then he says that, no, I'm excited for you, don't go, where are you going? فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? You're gonna get raped by these wolves and the werewolves and the yugi monsters that all they want is reaching to a black fart as banging and stinky as plagiarized Big Bang of Hindu baboons, Buddhist baboons of Buddha Abudan. Or because once you tab or once you turn away, as we read in Ezekiel before, then you start groping, then you become blind and deaf, blindly groping. That's the 67:22. 67:22 says what? Says, and then you become a hunted, easy target for hunters. Then is one who walk fallen on his face, groping, yamshi, better guided, or the one who walks erect on a straight path like the Peter. Because if you are like that and then you fall down, or when you are groping, then you cannot see. But when you open your eye, then you see the signs that God has put in the Rakiya firmament, or the 7 stars that are like a picture inside the frame moon of Christ, or the Parvini Proinosi perimeter, or the perimeter of that Proinos, or the fire, and that frame as well as the fire are both are burning because of Allahi source of fire. And so once you go, then mercy of God is there, but you are going, and so you're muffing it into ignorance. Although they were denial, you are, again, you are the tyrant. You are the Gentile tyrant, and your ancestors were the tyrants that got you to stick and dharma and hold to the gay glue of sadness. It is very sad that you are worshipping and reading. Again, I don't even wipe my butt after defecation with the Rig Veda scriptures of these orangutans, because at the highest level you get to the Buddha Abudan or Anu Hanumani orangutan, like Barack Hussein Obama, the pervert president of a tyrannical empire, and then you worship that orangutan, or trumpetic pathetic tone, and you put pujas for those chimpanzees as your gods. That's the level of the retardation of consciousness. Although they were previously broken pots, we said that, but like then you fall into reincarnation, then you start eating ash or ashen, arsen, or the black smoke, or the fart of the Abudanic fat Buddhic belly, or the cement of the goat. 3940. Eating shadow ash and showing Darwinian hush sign, and putting finger in your nose and refraining from receiving, and being nosy receiver of the nuas, or the nasim, or nisa, or insa, or inashi, ensa, nesa, acceptor. That's the meaning of one of the names of the Nesa, of us, humans. Asura 4 and Asura 76. Holy Quran puts the root word of the insan, or human, mankind, is woman. Which means Ansha, nose. What is the nose? It is perforate. It is female. who are the believers in Christ, we call them mu'mineen and mu'minat, to iman of Allah, or the to amen immune religion of God. And so they are the knows or the minds that are accepting or nasa or anis or anis or enosh. Here is the enoshing, ethosing, accepting, etaating, receiving the logos of God, like a feminine spirit. And so if bunch of Hindu ultra masculine feminists are saying that the spirit of Islam or Christianity is a masculine misogynistic, they don't know jack boop about what they are talking about, okay? Because the Nasim means breeze, and the Nasam or the Nasim or the Nisa or Insan or Inash or Ens or Inash, Uns we call it, Uns in Arabic, Persian, Hebrew. Anash means affection, hugging, or letting something to come into you. That's the meaning of Asura 40. The name of the Asura, the 4th chapter of the book of life, it is named as woman. And the 76th chapter of the book of life, it is named as mankind. And the one is called, woman is called Nisa. Mankind is called Insan. Nisa, Insan are coming from the same root, and that means knows. Mind, and mind is whole, means a manhole. It is empty, it is perforate, it is a feminine. And then that feminine wants a hosanahi, husband, to penetrate her. And that's how you receive the logos of God. That's the ultimate level of the femininity in the spirit, whose female nose or bridal opening receives what? Who? Ravanahi Vaina of Zakar, remembrance. That's the name of the Christ, or the Zakar. Hebrew 21:42. Zakar means what? Zakar means remembrance, male remembrance rock. Yeru, Yara, Jerusalem. That's the meaning of the male remembrance rock. Or in huwa illa zikrum wa qur'anum mubin, or the discerning and qur'aning or rahing ravana, and that is obviously, clearly moonshining in the dark room. Don't turn away and then start groping, then you fall into that swamp. Look at it and receive it, because if you don't, then you are acting like a masculine. You say that no, I don't need Christ, nor I need Allah. I know I am the God of myself. I know that LGBT love is a good love, or I say that smashing or the God particle, an orangutan that makes God particle, and talks about Higgs 6 boson field, ultra masculinely, the dildo in front of his house is basically Brahmaning the Atman. And so I don't need to receive any penetration or intercourse of Islamo-Christian ecstasy. I am good, I am happy with myself, I am holy, and I am healthy. I don't have any problem, and I am going to reach to the nirvana or no ravana, and so no curing. Thank you so much. I have bunch of sex toys to flirt with them for a while. I don't need any penetration. And this is the spirit. That's why the spirit of Parvati or the spirit of Hari Helions is masturbation. And because of this spirit, their males are ultra male and their females are also male. And that's why the spirit of a Gentile goyim is nothing but absolute arrogance that does not accept anything from outside of the Kashiyapi lower cone cosmos case of Kush. Masculine, manna, mani, sperm, famanna, or the grace of God, or the sperm of God, that his name is Isa Messiah, or the gnosis, knowledge, irfan, araf, arafat, irtifa, arafat, or heights. I don't need any height. Thank you, I'm good. That's basically the husband of the female nose. And so shadow will bring you drowsiness or sobriety or identity crisis or amnesia, nasiyad, harmony, humanity. That's why you need the zakar, or the remembrance, or the heliocentric nausea, anas, and the wicked vertigo, lack of stability and groundedness. The best that you can find in that is to stick and ground into samadhic stone of this, or dharma to this, of turning around Helios void, a whole black sun. And so the shadow will bring you drowsiness, like Samaritans, or the Samaritans, or the black water beavers with black smithy digit stylus teeth. So my friend, don't die in hydrophobic photophobia of blindly groping bats of Buddha beasts, a scratched cave, and come to Legacy Love Light, or the Christ cause, or the Nooring ledge of knowledge, to see that when we're on that day, Dordis Isahi Shams, moon rises and come up to lower mind membrane, he will be like Mumbuk break, or the jazar, or the cut off rock, and shaqqal qamar, or cut off rock, or the open Christ ark cave. I'm talking about the same thing. Revelation 11:19, 19:11, Zechariah 14:4, or the Asura 54:1. The moon book that has broke and has opened, or the book that has opened into two halves for embarking, or the Ark of God, or the Christ Kaaba Kibutos, or the Kaaba that opens. Whose yusabbahu ra'd bhamdih, or the ra'd radahi, love lightning, will strike the Vishwarupai image of Vishnu, and his her Baraki boy, or the bell husband, and his Ashtarai Arova, or the angry apes, or the sodomite spears of homosexual hatred. When Isa Messiah, he shams of spirit life, breeze light logos, or Islamic life, comes out, or revelation ruh, river of life, lowers down to his eschatonic position, or is yusjid, vitrified, or is gathered, or lunar eclipsed in front of Allah his salam sun source, or katizoi over arch anticlines above the pottery pit, or is placed or accumulated or condensed cloud, or computer, camera, command center, chariot, heavenly instrument, firmamental flute. We can also call him as the computer, camera, command center, or the chariot, or the heavenly instrument, or the firmamental flute, or the harp, or the rock radio, or the tambour toy, or the piano pen of Allah, he creator, composer, is gathered for playing, word talking, or ethereal Kausar Tarusi Kaukaras constellation is steered and steered. Then in empty enteleki, or mind hole, or the deep earth, and in external world, or the surface earth, shine shalom in Kaukaras does not have any peer, counterpart, or match. That's why the words will not do the justice job of explaining it, and then we have to let the word to say what he wants to say. Isahi Islam is unique religion, object, instrument of a unique creator, player, composer. When we reach to speaking about face disk of Kaukaras king, or the superstar moon book, or Shams of Deen, Adon Deen, or the judging Deen day door disk, or the son of religion, or Dir do Ailato Sahar of dawn, or Tir teacher of Master Rumia, then Kaukaras, or the face disk, or the Mumbuki Shamsul Haq Yok Hakak Ho Khatay Tabrizi Briza come up and moonrise and anticline, and drew his head Yahuda, he lighting face disk above and upon the fourth sky. And the fourth sky, what is the fourth sky? Here I'm going to deepen into some of the PhD levels of the Sufism. It is the fourth sky, to see and hear how we are exalting him, holy and stuff. Let me explain the second honey hemitage of this wine verse. They mention four skies, that we have the fourth sky, above the fourth sky, are not seven holy smoke spirity skies. These four skies that here we have, the four skies of it mentioned, at the back and beyond, are not the seven skies at the back and beyond of Isahi Ismus, or at sweet side of Edeni front yard. These are at the backyard. These four skies together in series are the high holy height of Isahi watchtower above Galilee garden, or the high holy height of light at Isahi eschaton, end of tunnel, or my nocturnal nose, that's how much we are fallen, or the high holy height of Fayarahi mountain like feet, or the paw, or the paws, we call it in Persian or Greek, the word lines of the Revelation 10:1, or the leg columns, or the foot stools, above which observatory mothership, or the face disk is raised up above the dry land, or I, or the low. Also, it is. We can look at it as the lofty loftiness upon which Messiah Misbah, morning lamp, is meshkat or meshkated or recessed, that is pulled above the makomi membrane of the malakut or the yabashi dry land, where our pots are placed or our soul seeds are placed. And from those pots, our minds, or the Mosque Mosaic Mansion, is licht or hanging from those soul seeds that are placed in that qarar makin. And so, and above that qarar makin, above that membrane, the lighthouse is meshkated, or the recessed. The lighthouse is in a niche, or the depths of the niche that has set back inside the wall of the copper. We call it a meshkated, or the rabwated, or niche nest neshasted, or settled back, or the lifted up, or roof harpizod saqf al-marfu of Revelation 12:5, or the hover dwell hold up, and Shekinah, or the mask yumsek, or the masked from his right hand horn, or hangs or grabbed by Allah, as well as the 7 stars. Or basically he is hanging in the middle of the heaven and in the earth here, by the right horn or by the shaft of the lampstand. And that's why God says that I am holding the lampstand, and then the lampstand is holding the Christ. Or in other words, Allah is holding the lampstand by means of Christ, by means of holding the Christ. And so who is holding the Christ up in the middle of the air? 4 skies together in series above our malakuti dry land is Allah, that is yumseko, or mask, or meshek, or meshkat, thing up from his top right hand by Allah, to fly and stand and katuzi and hover upon the empty earth. Or in other words, it is orefte, or the backed up, or the ulaid up, or uliyad up, or the raised up, as Sultani Siraj, another name of Christ, Sirajan wa Qamaran Muniran, or the moonshining moon, and Siraj, which means lamp, or a lamp of excitement. From raised and recessed and loftily niche nest of Isahi solar ceiling or jasper roof, or Araf or Arafeli cloud cover. Again, this part of the Araf and Arafel goes into the back of it. Cloud cover, or the column canopy, or the glass dome, or barzakhi partition barrier, the lowest sama ad-dunya, the lowest mid-air, or the Havilahi height of Yisra'i source is created. And so again, as I said, we have the 2 parts of the astral traveling. One is called Isra, Soar, or Asra, Israel. And then once we reach to the Isthmus, then the second part of the Mi'raj, or the A'raf, or the Araf, or A'raf, or the Arafel, in and the ascension or deepening into the thicker and thicker and thicker clouds of cologne smell, or gnosis of God, or a smelling of God will start. And so the first phase, that is called Isra, that is where you ascend the a series of the four skies together. That this is called the mid-air somewhere, or we call it Sama ad-Dunya, the lowest heaven. And the lowest heaven is above where your pot pit, your palm pot, or your soul seed is placed. And the four skies is the height or the depths of how much we are fallen, or how much Christ is raised from the dead. And where are we? We are the dead. We are the mortals. And that's how much Christ is risen from the dead and is Qutuzing as a Sultan Siraj. These four skies together in series make the high holy heights, through which Ruhi Reina, or Al-Kawthari Ithra, or the Sereshte Stream, or the Chrisma Cascade, or the Logesi Love Light, or the Tabrizi Brizi Brizahi Canal Conduit, Anzala Manas Sama Ma'un Fasa'alta, that's read in Surah 13-17. The cascade comes down of four lined up rivers of Genesis 2 from 10 to 14. And these four skies are what we have these four rivers together, Genesis 10 to 14. Again, the Pishon, the Jihon, the Dijal, or Hadijal, or Dejle, or the Pishan, and then Jihan or Jigon or jaculation, Pishan, Faison, Foson, or Poshan, or as well as Jigan, and then Dijal, gel pouring, or honey pouring, and then Furat or the Euphrates fruiting. All together these are four, and together they are in series. And once it reaches to the Euphrates, it has reached to the ground, to the Galilee garden, or to Hamuna, or the human Adamah, Zamuna, Zaman. And that's how we are receiving that blessing or the chrismation. Not us, our minds, or in this realm, but we are receiving the Kauthar Etheriahi, ethereal, Seresht Christ chrismation that Allah is sending from through that portal periscope porch into our part. And so these four skies, you can look at it as the height of a cascade of chrismation under the ground, of the dead, and that's or you can look at it how the height that Christ has risen up from the dead energy, dead sound, dead field, the surface earth or the dry earth. Although a lot of Christ has been actually under the surface, because under the surface of the dry, we call it the deep sea. This is the surface of the sea. This is the deep sea, and Christ has come out of that, has reached to the surface, and then from there he is raised up four skies, series of four skies. And that's why from the up of that up level, from the hovering solar slate or tearing tablet, is raining down. And these four skies is what is mentioned in this poem. And that is how that stream of the Sereshti stream, or the essence stream, is rain and then reaches down to the surface earth, or my nose, or our beta brain wave again, the beta brain wave that is at the moment connected to our delta brain waves in that realm, or the dryland or the muddy mind membrane, and stabilizes it, me, you, us, with heartfully pouring or offering love light. That's the offering of the qatiroi qatre, or the taqtir, or the purification, purifying blessing. And that is how our reality is stabilized, by having a connection through Christ to the holy Ilahi moment of now, where Allah and Holy Spirit, or the seven stars, are living at the Arafeli Araf, or the heights or the altitudes behind the Isahi Ismus.